Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe. Hi, I'm Rob from roblandphoto.com, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing probably one of the most important things that can affect your enjoyment and productivity on the internet, and that's your ISP, your internet service provider. And just at the end of 2013 we switched over to Virgin Virgin Media Fibre Optic Broadband, which is significantly faster than what we were on before. Basically, we signed up to the 128 megabit per second package on Virgin, which to kind of translate, really, there's lots of confusion between megabits and megabytes. So megabytes are what you measure the size of your hard drive in, and say your music file. So music file might be, I don't know, 4 megabytes long, and your hard drive might be 500 megabytes. Megabits is how we measure speed over the internet, and to translate between the two, to convert between the two, a megabyte, sorry, for each byte has got 8 bits in it. Okay, so if you want to figure out, if you want to kind of translate between what does megabits and megabytes means, well, you would take 120 megabits, divide that by 8, and that gives you 15 megabytes. So 120 megabits per second theoretically should give you about 15 megabytes a second, which is, I don't know, 5 MP3 average MP3 songs a second, which is pretty damn fast. We've had this package since October last year, and everybody in the house seems really pretty happy with it. But it is quite an extra outlay. Our Virgin broadband phone and internet package costs us about £38, including VAT, a month, which seems it is quite expensive, isn't it? I mean, and it's the top package they do at the moment. And I also understand that this summer, the summer of 2014, they're going to be upgrading the speed from 120, which is, I think it should be 120 around here, up to 152 megabits a second at no extra cost. So that should be quite good as well. So what I thought I'd do in this review, I'm going to go through a short diary I did about the initial installation and experiences of Virgin Broadband, the improvements I've made to that kind of installation, and then what we'll do is we'll go on a tour around the various places in our little house to give you an idea of what real world speed you could expect to get from Virgin Fibre Optic Broadband, should you choose to install it. So as I say, we opted for the fastest package, which at the time was 100 megabits per second. It's now gone up to 120 megabits per second, and then it should be going up to 152. So that's really good. So this is kind of some excerpts from that diary I did at the time. So our old broadband, which was with Tesco, was really slow. I mean, I did some tests just before we swapped over, and we were getting 1 megabit a second. We were on the same package for years and years and years with Tesco, and we chose it originally because it was unlimited and it was fairly cheap. But we got to the point where that lack of bandwidth was just really horrible, because we've all got computers. I've got a laptop, Suzanne's got a laptop, Oliver, my son's got a laptop, and we've all got mobile phones, and we've got various other things that use the internet as well. And it was just awful. I mean, as I said, recently we just got a big telly as well. Before that, we never had widescreen TVs. Oliver had one in his room, but we never had widescreen tellies. We just had all big CRTs for mainly watching terrestrial television, and then we got sort of digital top boxes. But I really wanted Netflix, and there's no way that someone could be watching Netflix on one of the TVs and then somebody doing something else on their laptops, because it would all slow. And basically, Oliver would always be shouting, I'm lagging, because he'd be playing on an Xbox Live, and we'd be doing the first person shooters, and it just wasn't fast enough. Or you'd be trying to download something, it would take forever. Or Suzanne might be on eBay and she would go, the internet stopped working, it's working really, really slow. So it was just awful. So I said, right, I think what happened was Tesco actually the broadband actually went down a few times over a couple of weeks. I said, sod it, that's it. We're gonna go for fibre optic broadband, because it's been in this area for a long, long time in Gosport in the UK, and we're gonna go for the top package. We're gonna go for 100 megabits a second, and sod the expense kind of thing. Because I mean, we're on a tight budget, probably like lots of people out there. But the internet is what we spend a lot of time on. Surfing the web, watching movies, downloading music, downloading films, that sort of thing. And I felt to get the best out of it, we really needed the best internet. So we ordered it. So we all got installed on the 23rd of October 2013. And the engineers came, and also they brought the Virgin Superhub 2 router to go with it. And basically, I think this house had been connected up to fibre optic before, so it wasn't too difficult. I think a couple of days earlier they came and put the cable to the house, and when the engineers came, it only took them a couple of hours to do it. But when they came in, they said, where do you want it? And I said, well, where do you think? And they said, well, it's easy for us if we just have it at the front of the house. And instead of what I should have said then was say, no, actually I want it upstairs. So the router would be in the centre of the house, which would have been best for wireless. I kind of just went, yeah, all right then. And so they put it. If you imagine, kind of, we've got our house. This is our house here, and then we've got the road here, and so the cable's coming in here. And then so the router was right in our front window, in our bay window at the front of our house. But obviously we've got our lounge here. We've got the dining room behind, and then we've got the 2 big bedrooms at the top, and then a little bedroom on the side. That meant that it was a long distance from the router to the back of the house where people would be using it. But anyway, they installed it really quickly, and the guys are very nice and everything, and they checked it all works, and it was cool. So then I fired up all the devices and started changing the internet settings on all of them, putting the new passwords in, all really easy to do. The laptops connected no problem, the Wii connected no problem, the Roku, we've got a Roku 2 XS box, and that worked fine. But what I found pretty quickly was that the performance of the Superhub 2 router that Virgin supplied dropped off really quickly with distance. If I sat in the same room downstairs in our front room, our lounge, if you like, with the router kind of pretty close to me, I could get 80 to 95 megabits down, which is what I was expecting, because I was really excited to get it. But at the other end of the house, sort of diagonally to Oliver's room at the back of the house, which was about 10 meters or 30 feet away in a straight line, but going through sort of 2 brick walls, the speed was down to only 20 megabits a second. So I thought, oh, because Oliver would want it really fast because of his Xbox Live fighting, doing all the first person shooting matches, Call of Duty and that sort of stuff. However, even if you were to do this and have that same sort of problem, when I say it was only 20 megabits down, that is still 20 times faster than we had before. And also, it's a lot higher than the average of lots of the internet connections around in this area. In fact, all the speed tests I did, for this kind of review, and what you'll see in a bit as well, they're all done with the U-Switch UK broadband speed test. So if you just do a Google search for U-Switch broadband test, you can test it, and the average around here is I don't know, it goes from, if people are on Virgin, the average is around about 35 megabytes, and it goes down to 7 megabytes with Tesco's new kind of service. So 20 megabytes that far away was was still pretty fast anyway. But again, I wasn't happy, because I thought, well, we're paying for 100 megabits. I knew as soon as Oliver come in, one of the first things he would probably do would be test the speed of the connection, and I wanted it to be really good for him. So I fiddled around with the Superhub, changed the angle of it, and you would get to see the Superhub in a bit. But it didn't really make that much difference. So I thought, oh, what a pain, what can I do? Well, I did some real world checking. So I went on YouTube, played videos in high definition. There was no lag with web pages. Netflix was playing like a dream as well. So in reality, it was fast enough, but I wasn't satisfied. So I felt a little bit gutted that I'd let the Virgin installers go and hadn't got them to put the router upstairs, because when they actually come and install it, what I understand is they'll install it for free, if that's the deal you've got, anywhere in the house within reason. But if you've got to call them back afterwards, it's another £100. What I did realise was that the same sort of cable that runs from like the box that's on the wall through to the router is the same as a satellite cable as well. So I thought, right, okay, I've got a spare cable then. So what I did was I had enough cable. I swapped the cables over to move the router. Instead of being right at the front of the house, so the road's there's the house, and the router was right at the front near our bay window. It was actually still in the same room, but on the opposite wall. So this kind of centre wall that kind of divides the house front to back. It's halfway sort of down there, so it's in a much more central position. And about halfway up, Suzanne has got these little plinths that she puts things on, and so I put the router on there and kind of angled it into the room. And then I went and checked again. I was really pleased to find that the speed in Oliver's room had jumped up to 75 megabits down, which I thought, that's more than respectable enough for now. At some point, I may well bring the router upstairs. I haven't done that yet. But performance seems pretty good. I don't get any complaints from anybody in the house about the speed of the internet at all. So that's really good. So after having the Virgin Fibre Optic Broadband for about a week and a half, I still hadn't moved it or had any hard cables, because the practical speed we were getting was just brilliant. YouTube videos were playing in HD automatically, websites were loading instantly, large download files really quick, and Netflix, as I say, was just a joy. I could be watching it on my laptop, Oliver could be watching it on his widescreen TV, and it was all fine. As I say, we've got the Roku 2 XS box, and we attached that to an old TV in our bedroom, and that kind of brought that to life. We hadn't touched our Nintendo Wii for years and years, but I downloaded the Netflix app for that, and that's now downstairs running our big telly in our dining room, sort of the main one that we watch things on, and it works like a dream. And kind of as a side sort of hint and tip, if you like, if you ever want to get into wireless streaming, for Netflix, and I think they do an Amazon app as well, and they have a BBC iPlayer app on there. Even though the Wii is very old now, is it 6, 7, 8 years old now? It still streams video, I think, perfectly acceptably for most situations. It's not HD. It doesn't give you 1080 or 720, but it's good enough for most things, and you can pick them up really cheap. In fact, we picked one up for our daughter in Haywards Heath a couple of weeks ago. We got a second-hand one from a car boot sale for 25 quid with a few games and a Wii board, and a couple of controllers. Worked perfectly. She just plugged it into her old TV, and instantly she's got a streaming media player for Netflix and Amazon and the BBC iPlayer, and it's great. The Roku boxes give you a little bit more room to maneuver to do lots of different things, but they're a lot more expensive. Okay, so again, a little bit after that, on the 6th of November, I ran a network cable actually from the Superhub, which was downstairs, to my laptop just to test some speeds. And I probably won't get that today, but at the time I got a download speeds of 100 megabits a second. So just think about that, 100 megabits a second. So in reality, 100 megabits per second is, if we divide my maths is rubbish in it, 100 divided by 8 equals, so that's 12.5 megabytes a second. That's amazing. And upload was 6 megabits a second as well. So to kind of put that into real terms, it meant that I downloaded a 1.84 gigabyte film. So that's full-length feature film in HD in 4 minutes. That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty amazing. And so what it really kind of brought to life was the idea of TV over the internet, rather than having to just watch whatever's on the telly at the time. With really fast super broadband like this, you can watch whatever you want, whenever you want, using the internet. Again, a little bit after that, I thought, I wanted a hard connection upstairs from the router, but I didn't want to move the router, so what I did was I got an extra long network cable and just ran the network cable from the router downstairs, the Virgin Superhub 2, up and around to a second router up here. So I've actually got another router up here in our bedroom that I got from Argos for 20 quid, but I mean, you've probably got a router hanging around. Just a cheap Belkin one. Turn the wireless off on it, and then basically the wireless, the router then just becomes a switch. So you can take, imagine you've got your router, which normally you'd have, you know, all your network cables going off to your different laptops and computers and TVs and Rokus and all that sort of stuff. But instead of doing that, I took one cable coming out of that router, which then goes to another router, and that router that you can then split off to lots of different things. And the speed I got out of that, and I'll probably get similar sort of speed today, was 75 megabits down and 9 megabits bits up. And the wireless in that location, to give you an idea of the improvement of running a hard wire, was 48 megabits down. So it's 75 megabits down on the router, sorry, on the wired connection, and 48 on the wireless. I mean, but that is still very fast, isn't it? You know, this sort of far, I'd say that, you know, I'm pretty happy with the speeds that we get from this Virgin broadband. You know, we are paying the money, but it is good. Also, the Virgin Superhub 2 is actually really two networks in one, because it can transmit at 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz frequency. So the 2.4 gigahertz frequency is what you use, most of your things will use, like your Roku, your Wii, wireless printers, and lower spec laptops like we have. 5 gigahertz isn't supported by as many things, but it will probably, your mobile phone will probably run off 5 gigahertz. If you've got a newer, higher end laptop, that will probably run off 5 gigahertz. And the idea is that at the 5 gigahertz frequency, you get less interference from things like baby monitors, wireless doorbells, microwaves, things like that. So it's a lot cleaner kind of environment for the stuff to transmit on. And it also, actually, the downside to it is, though, there isn't as much range on 5 gigahertz. But the kind of way that I've sorted it out here is everybody's phones, although they all record each network, the default network that they'll go onto is the 5 gigahertz one. So the phones are all using 5 gigahertz, and the laptops and the Roku and the Wii are all using 2.4 gigahertz. As far as reliability is concerned, the speed does go up, and Suzanne's just over there. She's just laughing at me. I'm just trying to record a serious video, and she'll start throwing stuff probably in a minute, so apologies if anything happens. The speed does go up and down. I haven't done any scientific tests about how it changes during the day or from day to day, but it does seem to slow down a little bit in the evening. I guess when everybody gets in and starts surfing the web, downloading stuff and watching Netflix. And it does go down every now and again as well, as I'd say. How often do you think the internet goes down, Suzanne?
Never.
It goes down about once every 2 weeks, I would say. I normally get a call or a text, or the internet's not working and, you know, the world's caved in. But luckily, Oliver and I now have unlimited data plans on our mobile phones. So what we can then do is change our mobile phones into, she's throwing stuff, into little wireless hotspots. So that means we can then use our laptop. So it's not too bad, and it tends to come back online pretty quick. And you go to the Virgin website and you can check the fact that they know about it, and they've sent an engineer up there. As I said already before, this summer in 2014, Virgin's going to be upgrading all the 120 megabits to 152 megabits, so, you know, maybe it'll get even more reliable there as well, and you know, the speed will go up as well. So in conclusion then, I know that £38 a month for the internet can seem a little bit excessive. I mean, and we don't even have a TV bundle to go with it either, and we do pay an extra £6 for Netflix, you ever leave what she's doing. But if you think that, you know, we spend an awful lot of time on the internet every day and in the evenings, I think, you know, it really can make sense. And once you've used the service for a while, once you've got used to all this extra speed and extra bandwidth, it's easy to forget how crap it was with the slow internet, where videos would take ages to start, or they would start buffering halfway through. Oliver shouting the fact that he's lagging on Xbox Live. But now we kind of expect everything instantly, and in high def straight away. I think the other thing that really helps as well is the fact that Oliver got a new laptop last year, and Suzanne and I got new laptops just before Christmas, and we got our new flat screen TVs, and we got the Roku box, and I set up the Wii for streaming. So not only did we have super fast broadband, but we also had the hardware to take advantage of it as well. So I'd say that if you use the internet a lot, you can't go far wrong by getting Virgin Fibre Optic Broadband. You just got to pick the right package for you, and whether that might include TV and phone options as well. I mean, I think that they'll be moving towards you can get 50 megabit one, 100 megabits down, 150 megabits down. But I mean, I remember at the time, because we'd had such a bad experience with our old broadband package, that I wanted the best, fastest, and I guess I can truly say now that I'm really glad we got it, and it's worth every penny. But do bear in mind that although the service is advertised at 120 megabits a second, or going up to 152, in the real world you get different performance depending on how far away you are from the router, how many laptops, phones, Rokus, Wii's, and different things are attached to the network and what they're doing. I mean, for example, at the moment on our home network, and this would be unthinkable sort of 5 years ago, there's my laptop, Suzanne's laptop, both our phones are on the network, there's a Roku and a Wii. Even though they're not on or streaming anything, they're sitting there, and I guess if they're doing updates and things, they might be doing that in the background. And the time of day can make a big difference as well. If everybody else in your road is watching Netflix or downloading MP3s, then performance will drop off too. And just bear in mind that low speed on Virgin Fibre Optic Mobile will still be significantly faster than what you had before, or the average for all the other ISPs in your area. So I thought, well, what would be a good idea now is to actually show you real world performance in different parts of our house. What we'll do, we'll start off here, and I'll do a speed test, and then we'll move around. We'll go in the garage, go in the garden, we'll go in the spare room, and we'll end up kind of downstairs in the same room where the Superhub is, and I'll do it wireless and with a wired connection where there is one, just to give you a really good idea. And what I'll do as well, to give you an idea about the 5 GHz speed, I'll test the speed on my mobile phone as well. So let's test the speed up here. Okay, so I've connected the wire. Just move this camera around so you can see my screen. Probably going to get a bit of an infinity thing out. I'm just going to put my laptop into airplane mode, so it's not using Wi-Fi anymore, and we're connected. So maybe, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but maybe you'll be able to see the page for U-switch. So let's do a test. So again, we're in the bedroom. We're probably 10 feet away from where the actual router is, but we're actually using a network cable from the router up to a secondary switch here, and then on a hard line another network cable into my laptop. So let's see what we get in terms of speed. So we end up with, let's see what it is. So our download speed is 80 megabits a second, and our upload speed is 9 megabits a second. So that's pretty good. That, I mean, you've got to remember that Suzanne's laptop's on. We've got all the other bits on as well. So yeah, I mean, I'll be pretty happy with that. So what we'll do now is I will now disconnect the network cable, and then let's take the laptop out of airplane mode. If I remember to do that. So it's going to reconnect to the network. Give it a couple of seconds just to do that. Oh, turn the Wi-Fi on. So it's just going to be connecting. And then I'll tell you what, while we're waiting for that to do its business. Right, here we go. So let's retest now and see what we get. So now we're wireless. So again, we're probably 10 feet away from the router, but we are going through a brick floor, a wood and then a brick floor, and obviously there's lots of little bits in between, lots of different things on the network. Let's see what speeds we get. There we go, it just takes a couple of seconds to complete. So wirelessly in this room which is, we are getting 48 megabits down and 9 megabits up, which is pretty good, isn't it? So next up, let's test the phone. Now this might be quite tricky to do actually. I don't know whether this is going to work or not. Can you? All right, yeah, you can see the phone there, can't you? So let's fire up the internet. Let me get to the right screen. Sorry, this is a bit of a mess, isn't it? Oop. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So start speed test. Let's see how this is going to let me do it. Ooh, it's not going to let me. I've got to choose some things first, I think. For some reason, it thinks I'm in Ireland. I'm not quite sure why. Okay. Let's just get past this bit and start the test. Let's see what we get. So it's initializing the test. So this is over the, again, this will be over the 5 gigahertz frequency because that's what the phone's plugged into. Let's see what speeds we get up here, sort of 10 to 15 feet away from the router. And we get, ooh, 96 megabits down and 7.5 megabits up. That's pretty good. That shows you clearly the advantage of the 5 megahertz spectrum. I'm getting massive performance into my mobile phone, which is really, really good. Okay, so that's the performance here. Let's head off to the garage, which is quite a way away. Well, not really, we haven't got a big house, but it's probably be 50 feet away from the router. And let's see if we can get an internet connection there. Okay, so we're now in the garage, which is kind of, we have we have a house here. Imagine there we go, that's our house there. The road kind of goes in front of it, and then we have a little kind of garage just kind of to the side of it. I don't know why I'd use my computer out here, but what I might do is if I had a running machine set up, and we did have a running machine, but I managed to burn it out. Yes, I think that was just after Christmas. But I may well want to use my phone. Because I might want to be listening to music, or I might want to be looking at something, I don't know, some DIY guides or something like that. So what I'll do now, rather than struggle with trying to move the webcam around like I did in the video before to kind of show you what the result is, I'm just going to do it myself now. So let's just retest now. So we're quite a long way from the router. The router is probably a good 50 feet that way. So I'd imagine the speeds are going to be very, very low. But if it can even get out here into the garage, I would be pretty pleased. Right, so it's done the download test. Let's see what it does on the upload. Here we go. It's just doing it now. Again, this is the U-switch one. Let's see what we get. So our download speeds are, they're really, really slow, as you'd expect, because we've got a concrete wall, a brick wall, another brick wall, lots of sort of electronics things in the way, and we've gone down to 3.4 megabits a second. Still 7 megabits up, so we can upload stuff really, really fast. So you know, that kind of shows you the difference. But lots of people knock the distance you get with the Virgin Superhub 2, but we're kind of showing that it's goes pretty far. Now, I don't know whether this is going to work. Let's see if the phone can do it, because the 5 gigahertz doesn't get very far, and I think it might not be able to get anything. Let's see what it does. Again, I'm testing this on the same website, the U-switch broadband website, just to see what the range is like. Oh, it has started, so you never know, you might get something out of it. And obviously take all my figures with a pinch of salt. I'm not doing this scientifically. I'm just going to the U-switch website and doing it. And it says that my results are, so on my phone over the 5 gigahertz network wirelessly, I'm getting a download speed of 0.5 megabit and an upload speed of 2.7 megabits. But I'm still pretty pleased that I'm getting wireless connection sort of 50 feet away from the hub, which is right, in the centre of the house. Okay, so that's that one. What we'll do now is we're going to go a little bit further away. We're actually going to go into the garden and see if we can still pick up any signal from the Superhub there. So bear with me and let's go a little bit further away. Okay, so we're right at the back of the garden now. I can imagine kind of sitting here and maybe wanting to surf the web, go on eBay, maybe watch a film or two or something like that. So let's see whether we get any sort of internet connection at all. I'm not sure whether we will, because we're a long way away. The router's probably, it's got to go through the back wall of the house, the middle wall of the house, lots of fixtures and fittings, there's electronic stuff. We're probably a good 100 feet away, maybe even a little bit more. But let's see what sort of speed we can get wirelessly to do that. Here we go. So we are getting, what do we get out here? Oh, 10 megabits down and 8.7 megabits up. So that's still, you know, it's still pretty fast. In fact, tell you what, why don't we quickly go to, again, I'm not sure how much of this you'll be able to see. Probably just the fact that my laptop screen is incredibly dirty. Let's see how well and how quickly a program flashes up on Netflix. I think it's doing it. I can't really see it. It's very bright out here today actually, so I can't see much. I think it's loading. Is it loading? Can you see anything? I know I can't see much. I think, oh, here we go. Here comes Netflix. Maybe that'd be a bit better. Try and well, that was pretty quick, wasn't it? Very good. So, you know, even out here in the garden, a long way from the Superhub, it would still be possible to easily watch Netflix or, you know, BBC iPlayer or something. Now let's test the speed. Let's see if we've got anything. So what speed we get from the mobile phone. Testing download, it says. Riveting. But I guess if you're thinking about getting the Virgin super fast optic broadband, you know, this is really important stuff because these are real world results. So still testing download, and is it done the download test? Let's see what it does for the upload test. And remember, with all these sort of things, it's dependent on what other people are doing. If Suzanne's decided to turn on Netflix in the house, or Oliver's got in now, download speed is 1.9 megabits and upload speed is 2.3 megabits. Now, I'm a little bit suspicious about that because that's faster than we got in the garage, and yet we're a long way away. So I'm just going to check to see which network we are connected to. Yes, see, it switched over to the 2.4 gigahertz network rather than the 5. So that's kind of really does show you the fact that although the 5 gigahertz network can be faster when you're closer because there's less interference from other devices, the performance drops off a lot quicker the further away you get. So if you have a problem with the 5 gigahertz network, you know, on your laptop or on your phones, just make it flick over to the 2G, or just delete the 5G one, because you do have, I think you have separate passwords for each one. Do you have separate passwords? I'm not sure, but anyway, you know, it just shows you that the 4 gigahertz frequency range gives you more range than the 5. So that's it for the garden. Let's go back into the house. Okay, so we're in the lounge now. We're sort of at the front of the house, and we're right next to the Superhub router, which is Superhub 2, which is just there, which I'll show you in just a minute. Yeah, I mean, this should be the best place in the house. Unfortunately, it's probably the room in the house that we spend the least amount of time in. So really, the router should either be upstairs or it should be in the room next door. I'm not going to bother testing the room next door because the performance is good in there, and Suzanne's watching something on TV. So let's go to the broadband site and let's retest it. Let's see what we get in here right now. I mean, and literally the laptop is really, really close. Let's see what we get. Download test complete. It's testing the upload. So we are getting in here pretty close to the Virgin router. Remember, we pay for sort of 120 megabits down. We are getting 52 megabits, which isn't that much, is it? And that's kind of a real good indication showing you the fact that when there's lots of other traffic on the network, whether it be here with other people using laptops or computers or phones, or some other people using stuff in to the same exchange, you know, the performance can really drop off quite significantly. I mean, it's still very, very high. I mean, again, you know, 52 megabits, that is still higher than the average of all the Virgin tests around here. The average for people who use Virgin around here is 35. If they're on BT, it's 23 megabits. If they're on PlusNet, it's 16.5 megabits. So it's still pretty damn fast. And for all sort of intents and purposes, you know, that would be fast enough for most people. But I just wanted you to get a really good, realistic idea of the fact that when you get and you buy the 100 megabit, 120 or the 152 megabit service, as it will be, you ain't gonna get that, you know, when you test it on your computer. But here we have a network cable. So let me plug very carefully so I don't knock the webcam over. I'll just plug that in. Just plug that in like so. Let's put the laptop into flight mode. So hopefully, or flight mode on, there we go. That's better. In fact, let me just check something. Right, okay, so we are now connected wired to the router. So let's see what difference that makes to our speed. Retest. There we go. This is going to be a lot faster now. Just coming through. Just done the download test, doing the upload test. And that is going to be, he said, looking. So that test is now, what we've got, there we go. So connected via a cable to the router, we're getting 91.6 megabits down. I mean, that's pretty damn good, isn't it? And our upload speed is 9.1 megabits. So let's take a look at that so you can actually physically see it, or my face anyway. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. If I bring this up so I can actually see, I move that out of the way. Can you see that? 91.6 megabits down, 9.1 megabits up. Just to show you I'm not telling any porcupines. That's pretty damn good, that, isn't it? While we're here, let's get my phone out as well and do the wireless check on that. There we go. So we're just retesting the this is, by the way, this is a HTC One Max phablet, huge sort of phone. But let's see. So to give an idea how close we are, that's the router there, and there's obviously my laptop set up here. Normally we would be kind of probably sitting over there, but let's see. It says it's completed. Okay, so this close to the router, we are getting 48 megabits down and 6 megabits up. So again, you know, that shows you again about the problems with interference on wireless connections. It could be the fact that, you know, this wall here in front of us here, this is the dividing wall between, because this is a semi-detached house, so that the next terrace is there. Maybe they've got a router that's running a similar sort of frequency, so we're getting interference there. And there is the Virgin Superhub 2. As you can see, it's quite a cool little thing. We've got a few lights in the front. That tells you the 5 gigahertz is working, 2.4 gigahertz is working, whether it's connected to the internet or not. Got a little WPS button there. When you want to connect to wireless printers and stuff, you press that. There's a little sort of troubleshooting guide on the back of it, and then you've got sort of all your connectors. You can see the power connector, the connector from the cable outside, and the 2 network cables I've just plugged in there. So let's put this back into place so you can see my ugly mug. That's better, isn't it? So hopefully today, by looking at sort of the real world performance in different places in our house, you'll have a more realistic expectation of what to expect from Virgin Superfast Optic Broadband. And just remember, all the results have been affected by what's on our network. So the fact that Suzanne's laptop's on, my phone, her phone, the Roku and the Wii and everything like that. But the worst thing would be to, when you order something like this, is you spend all this money and you think you're going to get 100 megabits everywhere, but you're definitely not. What your walls are made of, what frequencies your neighbours are running on can all affect your speed. But to be honest, I'm really, really happy with the Virgin fibre optic broadband. It's really, really fast, in real situations like watching films, downloading stuff, surfing the net, and we can all do it at the same time, which is really, really good. So I think if you've got Virgin broadband in your area, you should really take a serious look at getting it, because it really is pretty damn good. Right, well, that's it from me. My name's Rob from robnunphoto.com. Remember, you can email me scalespeeder@gmail.com, and thanks for watching.